In 1995, I was doing my English PhD. And like most graduate students, I was pretty poor. I remember I lived in this group house that was so badly insulated that in the winter, this layer of ice would form on the inside of my bedroom window. And but it was okay. Like, I was living a somewhat limited experience, and at that time I went to this Italian film festival, and I met the history professor. And the history professor was dark and Italian speaking like me, and he kind of swept me off my feet. He was so exciting, and he took me to things that I had never done. Like we went to bed and breakfasts. Who had ever been to a bed and breakfast before? And we went to swing dancing. I had never done that before. And he seemed so grown up because compared to me and my fellow graduate students, first of all, he had his own apartment. So that was pretty cool. And he would order wine for dinner, and my friends, they thought having shots of Goldschlager was like really fancy. So, which is really like the worst, most vile kind of alcohol you can possibly drink. And so and okay, there was a few bumps along the way, right? He was 34 and he'd been married twice. And he didn't actually tell me this like in a very timely way. So like it was a little disconcerting, right? But he was so exciting. Like this was a man who was sort of elevated my existence, And the relationship deepened, and we got more involved with one another. And one day he comes to me and says, "Babe, I really care about you, and I want to take you to meet my family." Now, in the pantheon of grown-up relationship things that you do, right? This is a big one. And I'm just thrilled. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna meet his family, and like it could be my family. What will they think of me? So, we hop in the car, we drive all the way up to upstate New York, and we pull in front of this very charming little Cape Cod, and there's a lovely little path winding up to it. And I get out of the car and I realize that the path is just covered in ice. Because we're up in Watertown, New York. It's always cold. And I get out of the car and I was like, oh, God damn it. And I'm looking for him to try to help me up the path. And I see him and he's walking, and he's like halfway down the path. But he keeps going. And he's at the door, and now the door is opening, and he is through the door, and the door is shut. And I'm like, what the fuck, right? Because I'm like, you brought me up here to meet your family. I'm like, you abandoned me. Do you not understand how nervous I am? Do you not understand what a big deal this is to me? But what happens? I'm in graduate school. What do graduate students learn to do? They learn to argue absolutely every side of a possible issue. So I say to myself, oh, Renata, first of all, why the hell did you wear those heels? It's upstate New York in the winter. You should have known better. And are you not this strong, capable woman who why do you need some man attached to your side to walk you up the path, and maybe he's just really excited to see his family. So I continue up the path and I knock on the door and get let in, and I argue, I sort of like let that initial reaction go, because more or less the relationship's pretty good, and it seems like a small thing at the time. And, the relationship deepens, and eventually he comes to the conclusion that I should move in with him. And this is a really great idea, because first of all, we're gonna save money. And, it's like we're at each other's houses all the time anyways. It's kind of like the same thing, And I think, oh, he really loves me, and this is getting serious, right? Because he wouldn't ask me to move in with him. He wasn't really serious, and he wouldn't really love me, even though I take the trash out wrong, and sometimes I'm selfish. So, I'm feeling pretty good about this. But of course, when you move in with somebody, which is the second, tier on the big pantheon of big relationship things you do, when you're grown up, you start going down past the next thing, which is, oh, are we gonna get married? What are we gonna do here? Like, what's going on? Are we gonna get married? And then once you do that, then the next thing that happens is, oh, maybe we should go ring shopping? Yeah, maybe we should go ring shopping. And it's like, hey, so I say to it, like, hey, no pressure. Maybe we should just go out, we should go shopping, and you'll just know what I like, you'll know what I like, and you don't have to do anything about it right now. Only the thing is, like, and he's like, yeah, we'll do that. We'll go ring shopping. Only the thing is, we never do go ring shopping. We go shopping a lot, but he always seems to have something else to do, like, no, I really gotta, return my library books, or no, I really gotta do this other thing. And even when we're in places where it seems like we're near jewelry stores, I swear to God, it seems like he is walking me directly at the jewelry store, and at the last minute, we veer off, suddenly. And I'm like, is that really happening? No, it's not really happening. But it happens again and again and again. And I'm like, what the fuck? What? That is not possibly happening. But the other graduate student, arguer, side of my brain, says, no. First of all, Renata, do you really have any evidence that this is happening? Because when you're talking to yourself, having evidence is really important. And I was like, no, like, it's like, all right, he doesn't want to do it now, but it doesn't mean we're not going to go ring shopping, we're not going to do all this stuff. But I'm feeling kind of depressed about it. I'm like, I'm getting more and more depressed about it. I'm not feeling too good about this. And that's when Titanic comes out. I'm like, great, Titanic. If you want a big, sweeping movie about romance, this is gonna make me feel better. Like, we'll go, we'll have we'll watch it, it'll be so romantic, we'll be in the spirit of things. So I get him to take me to Titanic, and we're sitting there, and well into the movie, if you recall the movie, you probably don't even need to see it, you'll know this part, but Leonardo DiCaprio's character is handcuffed in the boiler room. And Kate Winslet, who's only known him for like 3 days, has got an axe and is going, is chopping at his handcuffs and is going, I will get you out of here. I am not leaving you. And, you might think Titanic is kind of cheesy, but I really relate to this part. I'm like, this is love, right? This is when you're in the worst possible place you could be, and you're still in it with somebody, and you're still there with them, and you're not leaving. That is love. And I look over at my boyfriend, and this white hot truth comes into my mind, which is, not only do I think that he would not be chopping me out of that situation, but that I would not want to be Kate Winslet. I would be running out of there. I would not want to do it. I would be sorry that he was chained down there. I would be sad and reluctant, but at the end of the day, I would not lose my life for this man. And talk about a sinking ship. We were on one. And so as you can imagine, it wasn't too long after that this relationship ended. And a couple months after that, I got a phone call from him. And he said, hey, Renata, I've got some really happy news I want to tell you. I'm engaged. And I said, congratulations. And we talked a little bit more, and I hung up the phone, and I never spoke to him again. And it was that conversation where I could see the last remaining bits of our relationship sinking, never to be seen again until tonight. Thanks.